Evil Dead is a cult classic franchise that I personally learned about when I was 16 working in a video game store, and the manager said to me, "Hey Benny, have you seen Evil Dead 2? It's amazing, and thus it started my love for this franchise. With 3 primary movies having a ton of movie lore, I'm sure you've heard about how they've all come together if you're a fan. But the franchise then continued onward into the television show Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and then into a hit video game that I'm really enjoying, and even a reboot movie. But there is a true continuation of the original storyline that appeared in comic book formats. The book originally came out in 2004, and I have found very little coverage on this storyline, and the fact is it was wildly successful, crossing over with Freddy vs. Jason and the Marvel Zombies. It featured 3 reboots on its own. Well, this is Comicstorian, and I read you audio dramas of comic books. We cut down on the panels and the B-plots to give you the core of the storyline while avoiding copyright problems and allowing you to go to your local comic book store to buy the comic books yourself, starting your own amazing collection where you get more artwork and stories to discover. Now, before we go into it, in case you have not seen the original franchise and don't know what Evil Dead is, let me give you a quick synopsis. Ashley J. Williams went to a cabin in the woods where he discovered the Book of the Dead and read a passage from it. This awoke demons in the woods, and he battled against them, cutting off his own hand and attaching a chainsaw and gaining quippy one-liners. He battled the demons and then opened up a portal through time, ending up in the Middle Ages before eventually coming home having defeated the Deadites. And, well, here's the story. It was all true. The cabin in the woods, the Book of the Dead, the Deadites, the castle in the past, and Ash had gotten through it all. He saved the world, said the words, got home. It all worked out. Well, it worked out for the most part. The gun thundered in his hands, and the Deadite woman fell to the ground as he grabbed the cute cashier girl. "Hail to the king, baby," he said as he pulled her in close, kissing her, the American flag waving behind him. And he looked up, and his smile disappeared as the old wizard was there, pawing through toys. "I assume you're responsible for the mess I made in aisle 9. The wizard shakes his head, asking if Ash had said the right words when he drank the potion. "Well, maybe I didn't say every tiny symbol, no. But basically I said, yeah." Ash snaps back at him as they enter into the back of the warehouse. "When you misspoke the words, thou was sent back to the wrong time," the wizard says as he throws up his arms. But Ash doesn't understand, pointing out that they are in the right time. The wizard explains that he has doomed everything. That the Ash of this time hasn't even left for the cabin yet, hasn't even found the book, hasn't even fought the demons. "Oh, I hate time travel," Ash says as he looks out the loading doors, watching as Linda gets into the car with him. "Linda, I can save her!" he shouts, turning back to the wizard, holding up a pair of women's underwear in wonder. Ash grabs them from his hands. "We need supplies. Get the cart," he tells him, and in no time, the pair are roaring through the woods on a motorcycle. But they screech to a halt as they discover the bridge to the cabin has been twisted and broken. "The Necronomicon has been disturbed. The end, it has begun," the wizard whispers, and Ash nods, explaining that they don't have time to go around. "Here, across time, I carried this for thee," the wizard says, unwrapping Ash's chainsaw. He smiles as he revs it to life. "Let's boogie," he shouts as he whirls and cuts down a tree. An owl swooping down from the disturbed tree, landing on Ash's shoulder. "He could be a powerful ally, for he can see through the darkness," the wizard says, and Ash shakes his head in disbelief. "You're really reaching, old man. It's just a dumb bird," he says as the two begin to move across the makeshift bridge. But the tree bursts into flames behind them. Luckily, they scramble across with the old wizard pointing out that this is the work of the Necronomicon. As they continue to move through the woods, a redneck comes roaring out of the trees at them. "For the love of God, please help me," he shouts, pointing back the way he came, stating that a jackrabbit bit him. "Aw, poor you. Well, why don't you just run home and cry to mama?" Ash shouts, but the crazy animal comes whirling out of the trees, rushing after the redneck. Ash grabs it by the ears, stopping its assault. "Is this the wascally wabbit?" he asks, and the wizard looks at the demon creature, telling Ash, "You must kill it!" And he punts it into the air, whirling out his shotgun, killing it. The redneck suddenly rises into the air, his face now contorted and demonic. "I will swallow your soul!" he shouts, ripping a tree out of the ground, slamming it into Ash. His shotgun falling away, and the wizard reaches for the weapon, firing it into the demon's shoulder. But the monster whirls, rushing at him. It's the promised one you want! I'm just an old soul! The wizard shouts, trying to reload the weapon, but Ash is suddenly there, cutting through the monster's torso with his chainsaw. I got a groovy little jig for you. How do you like it, Jimbo? He shouts as blood is spraying everywhere. The upper half falls to the floor with the demon grinning back up at them. You'll never retrieve the Necronomicon! We'll have your soul! The monster says, and Ash looks down at him. I got worse news for you, Squishy. No more hopscotch for you. He says, and the redneck reaches into his pocket, pulling out a whistle, letting it blow. The forest suddenly coming alive with demonic animals, all rushing at the pair of heroes. Ash keeps fighting, but he's knocked away, tumbling down a hill until he slams into a moonshiner's rig. Strange one! The wizard shouts as he tosses Ash's shotgun, and Ash whirls around, catching it, kicking over a table of moonshine jugs as the demonic demons close in around him. He takes cover, firing the gun over his shoulder, the explosion ripping the monsters apart. Kaboom, you filthy rascals. That'll teach you. He says as he whirls the shotgun, reholstering it. With that, they push through the woods until they see the cabin in the darkness. Come on, Father Time. We ain't out of the woods yet, Ash says as he moves forward. His eyes are drawn to Linda, sitting by a nearby fire, and the wizard tries to stop him, but Ash shrugs him off. She's my girlfriend. I gotta save her, he says, drawing closer, but Linda asks what they're going to do about the old book. Don't worry, Linda. I'm here, Ash says as he reaches out his hand, but the wizard stops him. It's a trick. Get an axe, he says, and Linda whirls around, having already been taken by the demons. I'll swallow your soul, she shouts, grabbing Ash, slamming him into a tree, but the wizard pierces her back with a branch. She turns on him, and the wizard cowers as the demons move forward. Hey-o, Ash shouts, swinging the chainsaw, cutting off her head. That'll teach you, he says as he kicks the head into the fire. Ash, please stop fighting and come back to me, she pleads as her hair burns, but Ash shakes his head. No way. You're not Linda. I won't fall for your dirty tricks again. But Linda's body is still moving, blood spraying on the trees around them, bringing them to life, branches and vines lashing out, grabbing at Ash and the wizard. The wizard screams in fear, but Ash whirls around with his chainsaw, cutting through the branches. Prepare for landing, he shouts as they fall out of the sky. The branches have brought them over the cabin, and they slam through the roof, landing hard on the floor. Ash pulls himself to his feet, surveying the carnage around them. Ugh, look at this mess. We might be too late. The other me must have already gone back to your time, Ash says, but the door flies open, revealing the younger Ash, having already removed his hand and found his weapons. He whirls the shotgun, firing. You get the book, I'll take care of me, future Ash says, and the two Ashes lock in combat. We're from the future! I mean the past! Future Ash tries to explain, but past Ash shakes his head, punching him across the face. I know what you are! Another trick from the damn book! He shouts, revving his chainsaw and moving forward, but future Ash just gets back up. No sense in talking you out of this. I know you better than anyone, he says, revving his own chainsaw, sparks flying as the two chainsaws meet, with the Ashes pushing each other around the room. Did you find the book? Quit screwing around and help me, Ash shouts to the wizard, looking into the kitchen to see the old man wrestling with Ash's severed hand. Ash slams his past self into the ground. Stop! We're the same guy trying to stop the same evil. You're just a few days behind the timeline and the body count, he shouts, and the wizard appears next to him with the Necronomicon in his hands. But past Ash kicks him off, using his chainsaw to slice through future Ash's connector. Now wait a minute, that isn't fair. We're both good guys here, Ash says, but young Ash smiles as he picks up both chainsaws. Good, bad, I'm the guy with both chainsaws, he says as he rushes forward, but future Ash punches him across the face. Inside of the kitchen, the wizard is reading from the book, casting a powerful spell. Lay off the demonic gibberish, you crazy old man! Past Ash shouts, and outside the portal opens, beginning to suck everything inside. The Delta lifting off the ground and disappearing. Past Ash turns around, trying to hold on to something. You idiot! This isn't supposed to happen! You have to go back in time and fight the evil in the past! Future Ash is shouting at his past self. Into your stinking time portal, pal? Why don't you go? Past Ash shouts, but the floorboards begin to give, and Ash pushes his past self, letting him tumble and twirl into the portal to conclude the timeline. And with that, the spell ends and the portal disappears. Ash picking himself up, looking at the wizard. All right, we did it. The other me's gone to save the past, to set the record straight, he says, and the wizard nods. Indeed. Yet our quest has only begun. We must continue on to the birthplace of the Necronomicon. And from there, the book can be destroyed. He explains, but Ash steps forward, grabbing the book and informing the wizard. No, I'll be in charge now. The book glows as the wizard shouts a warning, and the cabin begins to melt around them, showing a blood-red sky and ruins scattered about. It can only be one thing, the future, as ruled by the undead, the wizard says quietly, and the ground cracks beneath their feet, floating above as it moves through the world, with the wizard explaining that they are merely observers in this possible future. Ash looks down, seeing the Deadites corralling a group of beautiful women. That's it, that's where I draw the line, Ash shouts, anger filling him as he slams the book shut and they look around, once again finding themselves in the darkened cabin. He hands it back to the old man. From now on, you're in charge of the book, he says, and they return to the woods, finding their motorcycle once more. Saddle up, Cream Puff, we have a long way to go. A lot further than this old bike will take us, he says as he kicks the bike to life, and they roar into the night. We did really well, Stinky. With the Necronomicon captured, I think we can finally get the upper hand, he says as they drive off, unaware that Ash's old hand has hidden itself in one of the saddlebags. Meanwhile, back in the past, the wizard is looking over the castle, believing the dangers to have passed, but he looks at the Book of the Dead, shocked to see blood beginning to ooze. How could this be? The words! Once again you misspoke the words! He whispers, and the door suddenly bangs open, revealing a demonically possessed King Arthur and Lord Henry. The wizard rushes through the castle, pushing into Sheila's chambers. He grabs her, telling her that she must go to the future to warn the Chosen One. But she elbows him in the face, and he turns in surprise to see her evil face. The Necronomicon is ours! Yet the old fool remains a threat. Kill him! She orders the others, but the demons rush forward, and the old man falls to the ground, seeing the chainsaw hidden beneath Sheila's bed. He reaches into his robes, pulling out a bottle of the potion that he gave to Ash. He grabs the chainsaw, drinking the potion, saying the words just as the demon's swords are about to pierce him. Klatu Borada Nikto! He shouts, disappearing. In the present, lightning flashes as the plane flies through the storm, and the old man is explaining how he came to be in Ash's timeline. But Ash, the hero, is barely listening, beginning to shout about something being in the wing of the plane. The wizard gets up, heading for the cockpit, only to discover that the pilots have been overtaken by the Deadites. Foul things! Back to the hills from which you came! He shouts as he fires the shotgun. Now the controls are destroyed. The plane quickly begins to fall out of the sky, and Ash quickly joins him. Good news, strange one! The Deadite possession suggests that we are near our destination. The wizard shouts joyfully, but Ash motions to the destroyed plane and the fact that they are tumbling out of the sky. Bad news, Mr. Blast Happy, we're going down! He shouts back, and the plane crashes, and both men are completely fine, with Ash ordering the wizard to follow his lead and heads out into the jungle, only to quickly walk into Quicksand. Thou'st was saying? The wizard says smugly, and the wizard quickly begins to sink, but Ash merely pulls out some rope and grips it with his mechanical hand, firing the hand upward, using it to grab a hold of a tree. Talk about your handy gadgets, he jokes as they pull themselves out of the quicksand. They continue to move through the jungle, finally coming to the caves that act as the birthplace for the Necronomicon. The entranceway is decorated with the skulls of would-be heroes and adventurers of the past. We must continue on to the caves. One shall lead to the tomb that we seek, the wizard says, but Ash believes that the old man should stay behind. It might be too dangerous. I'm not sure I can protect you, he says, and the old man smiles. If I am to die, so be it. For in the past as well as the future, I will always know thou as my friend, he says as he puts a hand on Ash's shoulder. Ash gets a little misty, offering to hug the old man, and the two embrace. But the wizard's body suddenly shudders as a knife pierces him from behind. Ash looks in shock as his evil hand runs away, giggling noises echoing through the darkness. You! Get back here, you filthy coward! Ash shouts into the coming storm, but he still takes time to bury the wizard, sad that the old man died, simply because he didn't say the right words with the potion. I don't even know your name, but I won't let you down again, pal. I'll find that blasted tomb, he says as he begins to climb the mountain, heading towards the cave. He slips inside out of the storm. Whirling around, he still hears his hands skittering in the darkness, but he looks down, aware that his beard has now begun to grow and his hair has now become unruly. Lashing out and punching him in the face, knocking him to the ground, the hair reaches for his shotgun, lifting it up, trying to shoot him with it. But Ash reaches out, pushing the barrel away. Ha! You missed! He shouts at his beard, and then he looks up, seeing his evil hand heading towards the fallen Necronomicon. He tries to shoot the shotgun, but his beard twists his head, making a miss. He has no choice, and he reaches for his fallen torch, lifting it up, beginning to burn his unruly beard off, screaming in pain throughout the caves. He quickly gets to his feet, rushing for his hand, firing his weapon, but he trips and falls, stumbling through another wall and into a large tomb. The sarcophagus begins to shift, and mummies begin to rise out of them. Ash gets to his feet, revving the chainsaw. "You want some? Come get it," he shouts, and the mummies leap at him, with the chainsaw quickly cutting through them. "That's right, go home and cry to mama," he shouts, the shotgun thundering, but another mummy rises, its wraps snaking through the room, grabbing a hold of Ash. He tries to cut through him, but the wraps begin to suffocate him. He aims the shotgun, firing and blowing the demon's head off, the mummies all dropping, and Ash lands to the ground. "Once again, your history," he jokes, and he looks around the chamber, wondering how he's supposed to get rid of the book. He shakes his head, realizing that his evil hand was merely trying to distract him, and he moves through the chamber, hoping that he has seen the last of it. But it's following behind him, crawling along the floor, attaching itself to one of the mummies. And the monster begins to rise, getting off of the floor, now of flesh and blood. "That's right. I live again! Again!" Evil Ash shouts into the caverns. Ash continues to move forward, finding himself in a strange room, and the walls glow with evil glyphs. The old man warned me about an evil puzzle tomb. Evil? Check. Puzzling? Check. Me having to solve this thing? Pass. He says to himself, pushing open one of the glyphs, hoping for a clue. But after he sticks his head through, he merely sees the swirling void of space as it tries to suck him through. Then he manages to pull himself back, his forehead now elongated with the vacuum of space. Meanwhile, evil Ash has begun to raise an army of the undead, preparing to hunt Ash down and retrieve the Book of the Dead. Ash gets back to his feet, smacking his head against the ground to return it to normal. "I'll figure this out, and I'll piece together this crazy puzzle and send you back in a blaze," he shouts at the book, which continues to laugh at him. He turns, finding a spot for the book on one of the altars, jamming the book into it, and the glyphs begin to glow as the room activates. The altar rises up as the book screams. "Oh, shucks. Bad book go bye-bye?" Ash jokes as the book continues to scream, and then he turns around, cheering, proud of himself for having done the right thing for once. But the entire chamber begins to rumble. No, wait, it wasn't me, I didn't do it!" He shouts, and the tomb pushes its way through the earth, arriving back to the surface, the book laughing at Ash. He tries to reach for it, but he falls to the ground, hitting his head again. "Who? What? Where?" he says groggily, opening his eyes to see evil Ash standing before him. "Me, you, right here," he says with a sneer. "Aw, crap, not you again! Not again!" Ash shouts in disbelief. "Is that any way to greet your better half?" Evil Ash asks, and the monster orders his Deadites forward, with Ash trying to push them back while he climbs to safety, the boomstick thundering as he whirls and fires, reaching the top of a pillar, aiming his mechanical fist and firing it into the face of Evil Ash. "That hit the spot," Ash jokes as the hand returns and he snaps it back into place. But the Deadites are still coming for him, dragging him down, piling on top of him, and he revs the chainsaw, cutting through them and firing his weapon, the waves of monsters falling away. "All right, anyone else? Who wants a little?" He shouts at the undead hordes, but he turns, seeing Evil Ash standing there with the Book of the Dead. "No!" Ash shouts as his evil half raises the book over his head, the book beginning to glow, and Ash turns to see the Deadites all being put back together. "Oh, come on, I already killed all of you! Get away from me! Go on! Scream!" he shouts at them. And the undead push him back, with Evil Ash stepping forward, a sword at Ash's throat. "All right, we'll call this one a draw. I'm willing to negotiate," Ash says with a smile. But Evil Ash laughs. "I won! You're finally going to wind up permanent history," he says, but something behind him makes him turn. A portal opens, revealing past Ash, leading a charge of knights through it, the knights charging into the army of the undead. "Henry! Arthur! I gotta help them!" Ash says, but Evil Ash whirls on him. "No, you gotta die first," he shouts as he raises his sword, but that's when past Ash leaps in, stabbing the Evil Ash with his sword. Ash lifts up his chainsaw, stabbing it through the evil version of them. "If we're gonna beat these monsters, we gotta do it together," past Ash says, helping his future self up, but the two scream and are suddenly merged together. The combined Ash grabs the book, running away as Evil Ash orders his forces to get him. Ash finds himself back to back with Arthur. "Long time no see, Arthur. I need a clear path to the wise man," Ash shouts to his friend, and Arthur nods. "Ask and you shall receive. Archers, fire!" He commands, arrows flying through the air as Ash makes his way to the wizard, asking him how they can finally destroy the book. The wizard informs him that the book must be cast into a ring of fire, which will open a portal and send the book back to hell. Ash nods, leaping onto the nearby horse, opening up the gas tank on his chainsaw and spreading the liquid into a large ring, finally stopping in front of Evil Ash. "You want the damn book? Take it," he says as he tosses it to him, and the monster laughs. "Ha! You surrender! Excellent! Now who's boss?" he asks as he catches the evil tome, and Ash smiles as he pulls free his shotgun. "That'd be me, and I got bad news for you, bandaged boy. You're fired," he says, and he fires the weapon, igniting the gas around them, creating a ring of fire. The portal opens, pulling Evil Ash and all of the Deadites back into hell. In a matter of moments, the portal closes and all is calm. "Who's your daddy?" Ash cries as he raises the chainsaw, bringing cheers of victory from the knights. And the old man opens up a portal once more. Ash thanks them for their help as they step through, but Sheila waits for him. Before Ash can go to her, the wizard makes sure that he understands that once they step through the portal, he must throw the book back through it and close it. "Do you understand?" the old man asks. But Ash keeps looking at Sheila. Yeah, I got it," he shouts at the old man, and after the old man moves through the portal, Sheila steps forward. "You still like the taste of sugar?" she asks him, and Ash smiles, pulling her close and kissing her. After they pull away, she steps through the portal. It begins to close, and she turns, beginning to shout at him to throw the book. "Shh, baby, I know. I'll never forget you," he says back, unable to hear her words. And the portal closes, with Ash sighing, looking out over the sand around him, savoring his victory. He climbs aboard a nearby horse, preparing to return to the world. "That's it then. It's finally over. This time I did it right. I didn't forget any magical words or leave a single thing behind," he says with a cheer. But behind him, the sands shift, and the Necronomicon smiles. And there you have it. Evil Dead Ashes to Ashes. Like I said, one of my favorite franchises of all time. I enjoyed this comic book a lot, and I hope you guys did as well. We're going to continue our coverage of the other publishers, with Dynamite's Evil Dead Ashes to Ashes being a 4-issue miniseries. It started the Evil Dead comic book franchise. If you want this to continue, share it with your friends, like the video, and subscribe so that we can warrant continuing the series onward to Freddy vs. Jason, Marvel Zombies. He teams up with Xena at one point. There's a bunch of stuff that happens in this series. We've also got a few other ones lined up to test the waters to see if you guys enjoy these books. We're going to be talking about Nocterra by Scott Snyder, Berserk by Keanu Reeves, and we're hoping to continue Something is Killing the Children, which is a series we started a while ago. So if you want all of that, make sure that these videos get out into the stratosphere. Share them with your friends, like the videos, like I said earlier. And don't forget, if you want early access to everything that we're doing, check us out over at Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time right here.